Going to be changing my oil pump drive assembly today on a Jeep Wrangler 2004. Start it up. Alright, so the first order of business is we're just going to go ahead and take off the air intake and all to be able to get access down to the OPDA down in here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so what I've done is disconnected my battery, all my air intake over to here, and I've disconnected also my alternator wire, which is here. And that gives me a little more space to work with. So now we're going to go ahead and take apart the top to the OPDA, and you're going to see where I was looking at last week to figure out that I actually do have a problem with it. It wasn't making a noise in the very beginning. So I believe this is a T25, and we're going to remove these two screws here. Take the lid off, and you can see where I've kind of lined it up last week some. So what we're going to do is, if you can see this little hole right here, so what we're going to try to do is take this hole here and line it up with this hole down inside here, which is right in there. So to do that, we're going to have to turn the engine. So we're going to have to get in the vehicle, and we're going to put it in neutral, and then we're going to turn it from the main down here. Alright, so here's my new oil pump drive assembly, and what I want to show you is that it's going to come with a pin right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove this pin to make sure that we have our old oil pump drive assembly taken off. So what I've done is we've put the vehicle in in neutral, and the emergency brake is still on. And remember, I've already disconnected the battery and all that, so I can't get any ignition here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this pin out, and we're going to set this to the side. And then we're going to come in here, and I've got a 3/4 inch ratchet. And now we're going to come over here, and what we're going to do is we're going to turn the main crankshaft down here with a 3/4 inch ratchet, which is going to turn this, the oil pump drive assembly. So what we're looking to do is the little hole that's down in here, if you can remember to see that here. So right around down in there, there's a hole right directly beneath it. Let me get a little light over here. Maybe that'll help you see it a little more. Oh, I think I made it worse. Anyway, there's a hole down in there, so what we're going to do is we're going to try to push this up from underneath it while I'm turning it. And while I'm turning it, this hole needs to line up with that one, and this pin's going to ensure that it's lined up correctly. So if I get this in here, and now you should be able to see somewhat the pin right there. I'm not sure if you can see it right around there. So I need to turn this crank to get in there. So if I can do this with the camera here, this is going to be amazing. So let's turn it a little bit, and once it gets lined up, it'll lock it in. Close. Crap. Oh look, and lined right up, dead on, right when I dropped my ratchet. So we should be good here. So now what we're going to do is remove the one bolt underneath here, and we'll be right back to get that. I think it's a number 13. I have to double check on that. Let me go pick up my ratchet. Okay, so I've picked up the ratchet, and it is a number 13, and the bolt right down in here. So what you're going to do is just take it and loosen that up. And keep it in mind that my pin is still from underneath here, and it's coming through. So what that's done is assured that this oil pump drive assembly, the OPDA, is lined up correctly for our camshaft position sensor, which is up here on top, which is this piece here. So what's going to happen is, as long as I keep my new OPDA lined up with this pin here, I should be able to just pull this out and the whole thing's going to turn. And if you're going by the marks, like here, then what you do is everything I'm doing here is completely different. So you would stick with your lines. But what I'm doing is, since I've lined up this inner piece with underneath it here and was able to get my pin through here, the new oil pump drive assembly, I should simply be able to put it back in here in the same position. So let's finish taking this bolt out here. So now the whole OPDA here should turn out all together. So with the other one, if you're going to keep it in here without this pin and this hole lined up, you have to hold this still while you pull it up so that the inner piece here is going to turn, because it's a worm gear down inside there. So what I'm going to do is just turn this, see how the whole thing turns, and this part here as well. So you put it back down in there, it's going to turn, whole thing, and then it should just lift right out, just like that. Okay, and then here is the bracket that's going to hold it down. This is up here, so we'll put it up here to the side. So coming out here, so again, we'll pump drive assembly. See, it's got a little oil on it. And then this is all lined up. So now I can essentially take this pin back out and put it back in my new OPDA. All right, so here's the new oil pump drive assembly. I took the top off. I did not really need to, but just so you guys can see, here's the small hole that we're trying to line up again. And so we're going to go back through the bottom and line it back up. So see, if I had the lid on it, it wouldn't matter, because it doesn't matter where this thing is positioned at, as long as this is lined up correctly. So we're just going to take this back down into here. And I essentially should be able to take this and I'm going the wrong way. Let's come back around. There it is. She's back in place, just like she was before. So everything should be lined up. Everything should still match up. Just got to plug her back in, tighten her back down, and it should be all there is to it. Just want to make sure she's seated all the way properly. And she is. Yep. So that should be it. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and put the bracket and the bolt back in to be able to lock it down. What I've done is gone ahead and put the bolt back in, holding it in, so the camshaft, the OPDA is in there. So I'm going to go ahead and remove my pin here. Shouldn't need that in there any longer. And there she is. So we'll go ahead and set that to the side. Now I can go ahead and put my cover back on. Two bolts. So what we're going to do is reassemble the entire Jeep. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to go ahead and put the air back on and all of the wires, and then we'll come back and we'll give it a test. Okay, so we've got everything assembled back up. Batteries all connected over here. All the air intakes back on, and we're going to test the OPDA first off. So if I got a check engine light, I'm not going to be surprised, because I did have a couple for my O2 sensors. So let's see what happens here with this. Yep. I don't. So we're doing good so far. Showing we have good oil pressure. Yep, get in here. Good oil pressure, and yeah, no check engine light. So we're doing good. That's all there is to it.